These are live reactions of me and Magic Monkey. So we both have done community development stuff for VR chat in the past, just as people who really enjoy doing this stuff. And we did world building and other things. Monkey did a lot more interesting stuff than I did. Both of us are avid VR fans.
I mean,
And
we both did some crazy stuff there.
we both started in about, I think it was 2018 or so. We started into the VR community, maybe a bit later. I'm not quite sure what,
Well,
around
it's
there.
roughly end of 2017, I think there.
There we go. And so both of us have been in the VR community for many years. We actually built content that the community actually still uses, or at least used to use. And that's the perspective we're coming from. Monkey has not seen this yet. I've seen only bits and pieces of this discussion. So we're going to have a reaction to the new Apple headset. And I
Hey,
do know the price though, but Monkey does not. Uh, full disclosure. And yeah, let's roll this through.
all right.
Introducing Apple Vision Pro. The era of spatial computing is here.
The hell?
When you put on Apple Vision Pro, you see your world and everything in it.
Wait,
Your
so you can
favorite
actually see
apps
right through it?
right in front of you.
So this is a trick of the eye. What they're actually doing is it's a screen, and there's a second screen showing your eyes and your facial expressions through the screen. So there's actually two screens back to back inside the headset. One
Oh,
is showing your screen, and
yeah.
it's showing camera feeds from outside, whereas the front-facing screen is actually showing your eyes and such. And I think they mentioned later that like they have a symbolic color symbols showing that you're busy in the middle of something and you cannot see the people around you at that moment.
Damn, okay.
So this is like AR elements, so augmented reality elements right here, but technically you're in a VR headset.
Yeah.
But now they're in your space. This is Vision OS, Apple's first ever spatial operating system. It's familiar, yet groundbreaking. You navigate with your eyes. Simply tap to select, flick to scroll, and use your voice to dictate.
Notice no hand controllers, by the way. All hand gestures and
It's
eye
like
gestures.
magic.
Damn.
Apps have dimension, react to light, and cast shadows. Even though these spatial experiences are happening inside Vision Pro, it looks, sounds, and feels like they are physically there. Foundational to Apple Vision Pro is that you're not isolated from other people. When someone else is in the room, you can see them, and they can see you.
Oh, no, okay.
Because you're not limited by a display, apps live in your space. Your photos can be life-size, or any size, so your living room becomes a gallery.
Now, my instinct, though, about this with the double screens is
Yeah.
that now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to create a lot of heat. It's already,
I mean,
you know,
most VRs, like, it will give a lot of heat because of the enclosed spaces like that there. So it's pretty much a given with that there. But
mhm.
I'm sure like maybe sometime in the future with the VR headsets be more lightweight and that they'll have like maybe or maybe even like some kind of cooling system in it there, you know?
I think this does have some type of thing that I don't know if they said if there's active or passive, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of cooling vents on it. So let's.
And panoramas wrap around you as if you're right where you took them.
That's pretty slick.
So,
Apple Vision Pro is Apple's first ever 3D camera. Now, you can capture photos and videos with remarkable depth and relive a memory as if you're right back in the exact moment.
The thing is about this, sorry to keep cutting in, but this is important.
No
this
problem.
this 3D video, this 3D photograph / video tech,
Yeah.
if it's only usable on this Apple proprietary headset and not enough people get these, it's not worth anything. But if this is usable across all VR headsets like Vive and the Rift, systems and everything, if we can have enough people, the indexes, if there's enough of a support for other units, you could have a lot of content that could be shared. And also, more importantly, you're going to have this situation where perhaps in the future, there will be better camera equipped systems that you wear on your head and you no longer need a camera. Like a professional person will walk around and film like as if they're filming from their face. For certain types of...
Yeah, have the thing like glasses there.
Yeah. Literally the first person experience, like hardcore Henry style from a person. There's a value to that, especially in a 3D environment, because then you can take it, package it, and then make it an experience for other people to experience. They will
definitely.
So yes, there's some value to this if enough people can use it and if it's not proprietary to Apple.
But then again, Apple do be Apple, where they're like, I don't know, like having everything closed source there,
That's my fear. If this thing isn't compatible with Steam VR, it's going to severely limit its VR potential. As for AR, I can't speak for that yet, but...
Yeah.
Hey, Dad!
Experiences on Vision Pro can also expand in 3 dimensions, filling the entirety of your space. Like in the Mindfulness app, where you can create a moment of calm.
I don't think anyone's going to use that. It's neat, like once, like when you first get it.
Still a cool experience, I'd
Apple
say.
Vision Pro brings the scale and wonder of a movie theater to whatever space you're in. It automatically darkens and casts a beautiful glow into the room. And you can make the screen as big as you want. Spatial audio surrounds you and makes you feel like you're a part of the action. And for an extraordinary cinematic experience, you can bring in a beautiful environment and make your screen feel 100 feet wide.
Okay, now this right here, I happen to know somebody right now I'm chatting with that knows a thing or two about building VR movie theaters. So let me ask you this. I don't believe that this brings any new value to that concept, because VR movie theaters have been a thing in free programs for ages. And, on the commercial side, there's big screen VR. And you can choose different kinds of movie theaters. There's like the movie theater meetup experience in the middle, like between the movies that are playing. You can rent movies, so to speak, to share with your friends. So like as if you're buying tickets. And then on the community side, Monkey, you built an entire movie theater yourself. And we've watched movies in there.
Well, it wasn't too bad making that there. Like, it was just pretty much a box. Then made sure it had the right shaders and stuff like that there. But like the best shader, I'd still say with that was like having that lighting effect that went with it there. So you would have that cinematic immersion in it there.
So like the simulation of a projector effect.
Yeah.
So I remember you spent a lot of time working on the walls, right? The reflection onto the walls, so it felt legit.
Oh yes, like it had some pretty. I think it was having a bit of problems with with static lighting and stuff like that. There, I had to make sure that it was dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like once that effects was in there, it pretty much was like a game changer for it there.
And if you look here on this screen I paused on, You can see a reflection on the water effect here. So they're using the same trick you use to add to the immersion, which is a good thing.
I wouldn't say so with that. Like that's just more of a reflection thing, that kind of thing there. That's not too much of like the lighting effect, if you get what I mean.
My bad, yeah, because you're just talking about a shader. You're talking about a shader that changes dynamically.
I mean, that can be a shader with that there, which is probably just like a mirror, like almost like a mirror shader, just like on the water, so it gives like a bit of a ripple effect there.
Yeah. So that's the thing, though, is that I think if this introduces the whole concept of using VR movies to a new audience, that's good. But if it's once again back to a walled garden of the experience is only by yourself and only in this system, it does have limited impact. One of the things that I'm looking at right here is it. You built a movie theater because we had a lot of people that would come in. In some cases, we'd have 20 people in that movie theater, or, on average, 5 or 6 people would stop in. This experience is a solo experience only. They're not showing its scale in any way. To be fair, I just paused it, watch it change. But if it sticks to this, once again, we're going back to that. It's a solo experience, and VR is really meant to be solo once in a while, like if you're trying to work out in Beat Saber, or just kind of work on something that you're developing yourself, like a world or an avatar or something. Oh, and then most of the time though, you're catching up with friends, or you're showing off your work, or you're enjoying things with sharing content. Not necessarily experiencing it by yourself all the time. It's a very social experience.
Yeah, I think that's what like meant to be with that there. Like it's a lot more enjoyable, like socializing and that with your friends and stuff there, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Vision Pro is a wonderful way to play your favorite
That's a nice
games.
touch.
Just connect your controller and play on a massive screen with incredible audio. With Apple Vision Pro, you can create the perfect workspace.
Gaming's
no
done now.
The web comes to life at fantastic scale. Text is crisp and easy to read. Browsing the internet feels new.
Whoa. Look at that gesture she's stuck doing over and over again to scroll. Watch this. Watch her hand right here.
Okay. Feels new.
Oh my God, that would get old fast. I'm sorry to repeat it, but just watch her hand.
Easy to read.
Yeah.
Browsing the internet feels new.
Oh, that's horrible. I hate that gesture.
Moving the hand there.
Yeah, that they just zoomed. Oh
so
no!
You can see all your open tabs.
Imagine over and over and over again moving your.
I would say it would probably be more like trial and error kind of thing.
The App Store are there. You can arrange them however you like.
I think it needs to be a simplified gesture. I like that. I like the pinch and move it where you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh, great.
That's cool.
FaceTime looks...
I like the integration with FaceTime. That's a very popular app. I would like to see it work with Teams as well, because that's the new kid on the block. I know it's Microsoft. I know, but it would be cool if they showed that FaceTime, and then also, which of course, play your favorites, Apple, and then also, yes, we support Teams. Yes, we support whatever the new Discord, whatever people like, right?
Yeah.
But that gesture control is going to get old fast in some ways. It needs to be like you flick your wrist. Like you barely move your hand. Okay.
And sounds amazing in Apple Vision Pro. You see people life-size, and with spatial audio, you hear them as if they're right in front of you. So conversation is more natural, and collaborating becomes even easier.
I just thought of something else too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can't do small gestures. Think about it. There's cameras on the bottom of this headset that are clearly capturing her gesture motions with her hands.
Yeah.
So if they're too small...
It's going to have to pick up specific ones there. Yeah, it has to be like noticeable
Yeah.
to actually pick up as to like what kinds of gestures is being done.
Yes. Also, side note, just by randomly pausing here, I noticed this.
Mhm.
That watch is completely outdated now. You're not going to stare through a camera feed of your room just to look at your watch. The watch should be a virtual product inside the headset. Like when you do the watch gesture to look at your hand, a pop-up screen should be visible that shows you time, calendar day, any appointments you have. Like
That would actually be pretty dope. Okay.
Yeah, like the watch, a real watch is useless.
Mhm.
But having like a gesture effect, whether you're wearing the Apple Watch or not, that shows all
Yeah.
that stuff would be really slick.
But
And
the
because
thing
he's-
though is like as well where you said like with the flick of the wrist and all that there, that's having that as a gesture though, it might cause a bit of problems as well. Like, let's say for example somebody just wants to stretch and that thing, and the thing needs
It's a good point.
and it decides, hey, you doing a bit of a flick of the wrist kind of thing going on there.
Or you go to drink a drink, or you go to eat
Yeah.
something, because like people are gonna live in these things. Like they're presenting this as you're gonna do all your, if you work from home or something, you're gonna do all your meetings on this headset. So you're gonna be wearing this like 8 hours off and on, of course. Also, one of the things that I keep seeing appear now that I'm
Yeah.
watching this on a nice big screen, not like little clips online. Look at this cord. I think this cord is integrated. I think this cord is necessary to have the system run. It's running
So it's
down her
not gonna
back.
it's not gonna be wireless.
No, I think there's a battery pack at the least, and I think it's probably connected to an iPhone.
Huh.
I
Or
might be wrong.
maybe just a Mac.
She's got a giant MacBook carried around. I can't leave my coffee table with my AR system because it's attached to a MacBook Pro.
see the world around you, you can glance at a notification.
That right there, that's a miss. That's a huge miss. That right there, glance at a
Yeah.
notification. This should be a virtual item, and the whole reason the Apple Watch is small is so it doesn't look huge. It doesn't feel heavy on your wrist. Virtual items do not have to worry about any of those things. They can be big and they could be small, and then you gesture to make it bigger or something. Like you do this, and all of a sudden,
maybe like if you look at your watch, an example was like let's take for example Rec Room there. When you look at your watch and it like pops up there.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I have this watch band in black on my older iWatch.
Yeah.
My only iPhone watch or iWatch thing. But I have a band on it that's black metal version of this, and I can tell you unequivocally it does not look like this. This is a texture. So they at least they know that by heart. So you can see, look at the this is kind of a nitpick, but notice her wedding band here. Do you see how that ring? Look at the low resolution of it. This is 1440p by 60 frames, and the resolution should not be this bad. So what I think is, to Apple's credit, I'll bet you this actually is a feed from that camera that's inside the headset. To Apple's credit, this is probably an actual picture from that, or a capture from that. So it's been a video camera, then a capture, then it was rendered out, then it was put online and compressed for YouTube for 1440p on YouTube, to be fair. But I think that this looks really low res when you get close to the camera. I don't think the cameras are designed for like high quality imagery. I think they're designed for high speed capture of your gestures. And then if you look here, you can see that they added this as a texture so it doesn't look terrible. Like, because if it looked like this blurry, like how this looks a little blurry here, if this looked a little blurry, like they tried to actually render her watch, it would look abysmal. So they put this overlay onto the watch, which I think is going into the vibe of you probably don't have to be wearing an iWatch in order to use this headset. Look at your wrist and it shows this. I think the watch is fake. The watch is designed to just go with what looks like an arm.
Yeah.
I think this is a virtual item. I think that's what that is. That's what we're dealing with here.
That could be pretty neat, that thing, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a miss that unless you can gesture and expand this, I think it is a little bit of a miss, but it's still, it's a nice touch.
Like if you can adjust it on that, yeah, that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, or like you look at it as it's small, and then you just like tap it, just tap on top of it or something, and then instantly it's huge and it has a big widget system and stuff, and you obviously can personalize that. Like, okay, I only want to see this or that.
And even connect your Mac simply by looking at it.
She does have a Mac.
Turning a 13-inch screen
She's got her MacBook
into
Pro.
a giant display.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That's pretty dope.
Also, there it is. Is that an iPhone or is that just a battery pack? Or is that like, oh my goodness, I bet you there's an add-on unit. It probably comes with a kit. Because she's wirelessly connected to the iMac because there's no wire. They went out of their way to show her sit on the bed with no wire attachment.
Could possibly be the
So think about it. That resolution looks really good. In order to get HD, like it's going to have to be 4K resolution for people not to complain, right? So to get wirelessly streaming 4K video, you do need a lot of processing power. That pack is probably like the same power as like a brand new iPhone, just in that package that connects to the headset.
In Apple Vision Pro, you can also transform your space.
There's more Apple products on that bed than there are human beings.
Beyond the dimensions of your room. Like on a plane. You can now watch a movie on a huge screen in a stunning location.
That's a cool use case.
And you control just how immersed you want to be.
So a hardware dial on top of the headset changes if you see what's on it. That's a nice.
Yeah, that is a really good touch, that thing.
To make all these digital experiences
now, I just saw him move it with his finger,
in your
just
space,
his one pointer finger,
an
and he was gesturing to the
technology. Yet Apple Vision Pro is remarkably compact and beautiful.
But they said
a single
that
piece
you
of
look at the
three-dimensionally
icons.
formed laminated glass acts as a lens through which the cameras and sensors view the world. It flows seamlessly into a lightweight aluminum alloy frame that gently curves to wrap around your face. And we designed a modular system so you can find the right fit. The light seal keeps stray light from your eyes, and a soft frame gently flexes and conforms to your unique features. The headband is 3D knitted to provide cushioning, breathability, and stretch.
I cannot wait for these 3D knitted bands to be like $20 on like Amazon and stuff, like from third-party brands for like other headsets. Like I could definitely, I'll probably definitely be looking into this. A really big VR YouTuber, sadly it's Bradley. He covered I know he's got a silly name, but he knows his stuff. And he helped develop the big screen VR's new headset. It's like a very small headset that's like really tight, high FOV type stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things he pointed out to their team was that they were trying to insist on having a headset that only had a band on the back. So the band only supported the back of the head, and then the front was where the headset was. And his position was, you really need to include a band that can be at least optionally added to the top of the head, because it takes a ton of the pressure, even on the super lightweight headsets. Not having a band on top of the head means there's like all this pressure on the nose. There's all this pressure on the back of the head, like yanking it forward. I wonder if Apple was able to overcome that due to like how wide this band is and basically how they designed this front head gasket. Like, does it evenly
Hopefully, if that thing starts putting pressure on your nose and stuff like that, That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and I mean everybody's got different head shapes. Like once again, big screen VR's headset, they had to have custom fitted things you send in for. Like you measure your head measurements, and then when they ship you it, they send a custom gasket just for your head. And that's an issue if like you want to share it with other people. This system seems to be one size fits all if you don't need prescription lenses for your eyes. So you adjust the PID and you just roll with this HMD. But like people that like pick this up, that does interest me, and I hope that they did overcome that, because this is a sign for future headsets.
And a high performance battery
There it
reduces
is.
weight to a minimum and slips easily into your
So they're
pocket.
insisting it's just a battery. Okay.
Because you wear Apple Vision Pro and your eyes are covered, we engineered a system that uses advanced machine learning to represent you realistically when you're in FaceTime. Your persona dynamically reflects your face and hand movements. So when you're
pretty
chatting,
cool.
people see your eyes, hands, and true expressions. To convincingly place content in your space took thousands of groundbreaking innovations and custom technologies. Since your eyes see the world with incredible resolution, we built a micro OLED display system that fits 64 pixels in the same amount of space as a single iPhone pixel, and packs 23 million into 2 panels the size of a postage stamp. That's more than a 4K TV for each eye, giving you jaw-dropping, lifelike clarity.
And then they put pancake lenses on them.
Apple
pretty
Vision
nice.
Pro also features our most advanced spatial audio system ever. Personalized sound is delivered directionally to your ear. And
What does that remind you of, by the way?
Right, but saying?
The index
The sound.
system. The index sound system. They borrowed that from
Oh
index.
yeah. That was actually a pretty good thing with the index there. I gotta admit.
Yeah. That was one of the first things I noticed when I put my index on the first time. I went from my Vive, my OG Vive, to my index, and I'm actually grabbing the pod right now. If I remember to, I'll throw it up in the video, a picture of this. But like the pod on the side of your head does not touch your ear, and the idea was really simple back then. It was we put the sound drivers away from you so it feels like you're immersed into the environment. And that has a double-edged sword. That means like if let's say you're somehow using a VR headset and someone else is in the room, they're going to hear everything. But normally, if you're hopping around in a VR experience or something or whatever, you're probably not caring too much about the sound inside of the room, and basically it's okay. But I just wanted to mention that if you're wearing this headset, everyone else in the room is going to hear the experience you're in. And conversely, they won't get to watch it with you unless they also have this headset. So, yeah. So it's kind of an interesting little side note that it's a double-edged sword with the spatial audio that is not physically cupped onto your ear with like a closed audio system, like a headset would be, like a computer headset you could imagine, or a pair of headphones. It will not feel like that, but it does work. It tricks your ears into thinking they're outside. It tricks your ears into thinking you're somewhere else. It's a really cool feeling.
sound is delivered directionally to your ear. And audio ray tracing uses sophisticated sensors to understand the materials and objects in your room.
Audio
so
ray
sound
tracing.
feels like it's coming from the
Audio
world around
ray
you.
tracing.
3D mapping provides a detailed understanding of walls, furniture, and even people. So
Okay,
all
one more
experience of
rewinding,
walls
because
found
they cover like all off the wall things in like incredible detail. But then the actual technology, they like, here it is, bye. Just runs away. Like, look at the way the cameras are outlaid. So the cameras are pointing downwards mostly, forwards.
Yeah.
They've got two nicely set up ones forward. And some of these, I'm guessing, keyword, speculating that one of these boxes is LiDAR sensing. So LiDAR is used in like dark lit environments. It's basically a laser grid in front of you. And the idea is that LiDAR can like build a point matrix. They showed the point matrix on the fellow who was getting his 3D avatar created, where he turned the headset facing his own face to create the upper body of a person as his avatar, which is pretty damn cool. But I'm guessing that this effect right here, these streaming light symbols, are probably the LiDAR laser going out. And like they're basically showing them in an effect. So if they have forward-facing LiDAR, they have, let's just assume that's the case. They have cameras that are pointing a bit downwards, good cameras that have designed to get further along forward, and then side-facing cameras. And then whatever these sensors here are, these are probably light sensors. If I was to, that one's probably the light sensor if I was to guess. One of these has to be a light sensor because they keep talking about changing the light based on the atmosphere you're in, and that's important. So what I'm not seeing is a pile of cameras on top
maybe
for
also
above your
be
head.
for like depth in that league, so like it can tell like how high it is from the ceiling. Maybe
Part of that is LiDAR. LiDAR has depth. It can send a grid of laser across an area, and on limited detail, it can tell you this table that you're about to walk into is 3 feet away, and the chair is 2 feet away. And then it can fill in the gaps with the color cameras and kind of put them together and create like a mesh effect. More importantly, LiDAR is already being used on the Apple iPhone ecosystem on the newer iPhones to create digital products. Like you can put like a hat you want to buy. You can actually like spawn the hat and put it onto a table. IKEA, I think, is experimenting with the idea of allowing you to take a picture or show your camera to an area and then attempt to like put the bureau in space. So like if you want to buy a bureau or a table or whatever it is, a coffee table, you can like try to simulate it into your space.
Isn't that something like what they did in Pokemon Go as well there?
Yes. Pokemon Go is a very, very early iteration of trying to bring digital products into live space. And the more detail you have, the more it can't be tricked. It can't mess up as much, the better off you are. So like a combination of color camera combined with LiDAR is good. Now, these cameras are not as impressive as you think because each one of these cameras, and particularly these two, that's stereoscopic cameras. So when you use two cameras together to act as a single image, it gives you depth, much better depth, but it means that those cameras are working in tandem as one sensor, right? Yeah. One sensor. So these two, one sensor, they act in tandem together. I'm guessing that these are working on their own because they're in your periphery. And I'm very curious to see the outlying. It looks like they're focusing heavily on where your hands are going to be. They're desperate to capture those gestures, but above your head, it doesn't seem like they're that focused on having sensories knowing where you're at. Now, if they use the same tricks other headsets use with controllers, they have like their trackers in them. They have an IMU that tracks the inertia of your movement. So if you leave the headset area, like in your Oculus or your Oculus 2 and all that, if you leave the area, all of a sudden, it will still track for a bit, but it'll be worse tracking. With this, you don't have that capability because you're literally just flying your hands around. So whatever this device is calculating past where you're leaving its visual range, it's going to start getting haywire quickly. Until you bring your hands back, it has to recognize those hands. And one other thing about that, if you're, let's say it's a mother holding her child or a person with a cat or something. If the animal or the kid is close to the same color as the arms, guess what? This thing is going to go haywire. It's not going to know what your hand is and what someone else's hand is if you're very close together. Like if you have the same skin tone, it's going to go nuts. The same thing with a pet. If you have a cat jumping around in your lap, is this going to flip? Is it going to turn off your video you're watching?
I mean, something's probably going to happen then.
So yeah, and once again, if your hands are blocked by an object, if your hands are blocked by by a baby in your hands, whatever, it's going to have trouble dealing with that. It's going to need to figure out a way. So there's going to need, honestly, there should be a hardware lock button, a gesture control lock button that like you tap it, and for the next 5 minutes, it doesn't accept gestures unless you tap it again. So like the idea is like, you stepped away to go open a fridge, or you went to go, once again, feed the cat or whatever. And now things are different. You can still keep watching your content without the gestures, it thinking every single thing's a dang gesture, So yeah, that's once again, teething issues for the
3D
system.
mapping provides.
And there's the laser. It's the center one. That's the image right here that we were paused on.
It's a detailed understanding.
That's my fault.
Of
I shouldn't have
walls,
paused that earlier.
furniture, and even people.
So yeah, the Lidar mapping
so
is
all
in the center.
experiences look, sound, and feel like they are physically there.
Also, Lidar only has a specific distance
To
it
power
works.
a spatial
Like
computer
30 feet,
Now,
for example.
what I
Pro
think would have been
require-
cool though
Yeah.
is, yeah, it's all good that you can do it with your hands and stuff like that there. But wouldn't it have been easier if they just made something like fingerless gloves, for example? That would have helped a whole ton better with the tracking then.
Yeah.
That would take a load of stress off of like trying to find okay, there's the hand, there's the gestures and all that there. If they got some sort of glove,
Even if it's just
the comfier it is, the better as well, then. But yeah, gloves.
Even if it's just a reflective strip on the back of the glove where the infrared camera can pick up the reflective strip, but it doesn't look obnoxious when somebody's wearing them. And you could even market it and say, look, the gloves are optional when you're playing a game that you want like high detail of your gesture control. Like you probably want to wear them. But if you're not doing that, then just use your hands. Like you could make it optional. And they did show the gaming controller, and they skipped right past gaming real quick. So I'm guessing that that's as far as they went. Was we've integrated game controllers, leave us alone.
Yeah, I think this it's as clear today. Like literally, this is not. It's not designed for gaming. It's straight up. That's that. But
no, and I mean, to be fair,
it's more for daily usage.
Yes. And to be fair, VR, has a lot of experiences. Like we described hanging out in your movie theater. I made a karaoke bar. I mean, like some of the stuff that we made is like different. It's meant to be things that people experience. They come together. They have a good time. Heck, I mean, technically you even had like a flight racing simulator, technically that all got integrated into these experiences. And that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
You experience it in VR, you get a taste of it, and then you want more and more, and you push your own limits just as much as you bring other people in to experience the fun. And all of those things I just described, you don't need incredible gaming acumen to experience, or this incredible headset that's like, can pick up 240 frames a second, and it's designed for Counter-Strike's source shootouts or something. It's like that's not necessary in many cases, but still, it would be nice to consider gaming and be like, look, because I do believe that gaming in the public space is going to be in the future is going to be a thing. Like there will be public parks where they cordon them off for safety, and the game zone is set in a very specific area with no roads involved. It's completely safe. And then participants are inside and they play like an arena game and stuff. And they play for points. They play for scavenger hunts. They do Pokemon Go in like a full scale Pokemon Go with headsets on.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the future.
Or if like there was a way for it to do like real time assessing as you go along.
Yes.
And it will determine, okay, cool, it's safe enough to have like an event thing going on here.
And the minute you leave the cordoned area, instantly it shuts off the game. You're flagged until you get back inside the environment. You can clearly see everything around you, and it's like, hey, you're this isn't part of the game. Get back.
Like probably like most parks or that there would be like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and
it's been determined that's safe enough. There you go. Have fun, enjoy.
And you'd have like referee slash lifeguards essentially.
Yeah.
They have a
And
tablet with them where they can shut off your feed if like you're about to walk into a tree or something.
I mean, by that time, like the way things are going, like for example, with this thing, you can still be aware of your surroundings, then at least.
Yes, if it works correctly. Look at this spot I paused at. They're showing off the chips, the M2 and the R1, and you cannot convince me this thing ain't kicking off a ton of heat doing all the processing on board. But anyway, this is what you're actually looking through. It's a actual pile of metal. It's a lot like in the past, you know, something that was always sci-fi was fighter jets where you could look through the floor and you could see through the walls of a tank or something. Like it was military stuff. And this is a cool factor that pass-through is now going to be legitimate, where pass-through was like, once again, it was a sci-fi military typey thing in the past that was like only you could dream about. Or another nicer way to think of it is like Star Trek, you know, having a view screen or something that was like it showed through the panels, like as if you're looking from the outside of the ship at what's happening. Bring the visual up on screen. Well, in this case, it's literally taking that sci-fi type effect and it's bringing it down to a prosumer level. So I think in the next few years, these are going to become more and more popular because there has been pass-throughs in the past. Most of the meta tech was actually pretty good about the pass-through, but the cameras were just terrible. And the onboard index cameras, for example, are terrible. So having proper cameras that are set up to really capture at a high enough frame rate, because if you're walking, you can't have like a 9 hertz camera. You got to be able to like see where the heck you're walking real time, right? Not this jittery slideshow. But if you get it right, absolutely. You absolutely can have those. But yeah, so that's
An innovative
that's the future
design. M2 provides
We're almost done, by the
phenomenal
way.
performance.
I can't wait
And the
to
brand
find out
new
what you think
chip,
of the price.
R1 processes sensor data at incredible speed, virtually eliminating lag. So experiences take place in real time, right in front of your eyes.
Low delivery, great ball inside.
A stunning new way to use the apps we love.
That right there, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Right in front of your eyes.
Low delivery.
Watch MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. So this is a key thing for those that are not in a country that has MLS Season Pass. Major League Soccer has a that's what they call it in the United States, but there is of course the football passes in England and in the rest of Europe, etc. But if you're not any familiarity with this thing, these sports passes of different kinds can be hundreds of dollars a year. So it is kind of amazing that they accidentally slipped in one of the problems with any of these VR experiences. If you start locking things behind subscriptions and paywalls, it makes it much, much harder to get people to adopt this technology. They're already paying a ton of money for the hardware. You're asking them to adopt this new technology. Basically, they're alpha/beta testing, depending on how far along it is. And now, on top of that, you're like, oh, you could enjoy this great thing. By the way, it cost $100, like just for a subscription, and it's not a lifetime subscription. It's only for the year. So I just wanted to mention that, like, that's one of the big problems right now is walled gardens and subscription costs.
Great ball inside.
A stunning new way to use the apps we love. A powerful way to relive our memories.
I do think
A
that's cool if enough
profound
people
new
adopt
way
it.
to be
I go back to the
together.
3D pictures.
And a magical
neat.
way to be immersed in entertainment. The era of spatial computing is here. This is Apple Vision Pro.
I love how gentle he put that down on the table. Like that would be. Oh wait, it didn't give the price. No, no, Apple, no, you can't do this to us.
Given that it's Apple, though.
Hey,
I can just assume that it's going to be a hell of expensive.
In the platform stage.
The relentless focus we place on privacy and separate autofill.
This is the full one. I'm not going to make you sit through this.
So individual apps don't Vision Pro. With the most advanced displays we've ever made, a revolutionary spatial audio system, 2 powerful Apple Silicon chips, a groundbreaking spatial operating system, and a gorgeous design made from aerospace-grade alloys, Apple Vision Pro is the most advanced personal electronics device ever. In fact, there is so much invention in Vision Pro that we filed over 5,000 patents during its development. It's hard to believe all the capabilities Vision Pro delivers are possible in a standalone spatial computer portable enough to use anywhere. It lets you replace a desk full
Here
of monitors with
this is the
infinite
clip I
screen
saw
real estate,
earlier.
so you can be more productive than ever. It delivers stunning entertainment and personalized spatial audio. It provides powerful new ways to collaborate and stay connected. And for capturing and reliving memories, Vision Pro is simply in a class of its own. If you purchased a new state-of-the-art TV, surround sound system, powerful computer with multiple high-definition displays, high-end camera, and more, you still would not have come close to what Vision Pro delivers. Apple
What?
Vision Pro starts at $34.99.
What? Jesus.
So for that price, you could have bought your entire family sets of indexes. You could have went on Steam and bought from Valve 3 entire sets of index, and you wouldn't need to. That's the funniest part, because with the Lighthouse 2s, you can run all sorts of equipment, and you can get creative with the way you set them up. You could have like one set in the rec room, you could have another set downstairs, and remember the HM. That's the craziest thing. What I'm getting to is the Index HMD, the actual headset, is only $500, 500 USD. And then the Knuckles, if you want to get them, is 250 USD for the pair.
Insane.
So the entirety of the Index headset, once you have a Lighthouse set up, is $750. This system is $3,500.
I was expecting it to be expensive because, you know, Apple stuff is generally expensive there. But for that price, no. That is some next level stuff.
Now, I've talked with people on Reddit about this already because I didn't sit down and watch the whole video. I only watched little clips and stuff.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I think there's one use case for this device, and there's one group of people in that use case that I think it would be useful for. Can you guess which one I'm talking about?
Wait, what? For which thing?
Which group of people would this be worth would be worth them getting this?
What group of people?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they're all the Apple lovers or something.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, like extreme Apple lovers that are like,
yeah,
they have like the $20,000, you know, top of the line back in the day.
That's just like nope, only Apple.
Yeah, I mean,
Go to the book with Apple there.
But the group of people that would be practical to use this would be game developing companies, productivity app developers.
But still, for
the argument is this is a development kit.
Yeah.
And in 2 to 3 years, a real one will come out that's like $900 or 800 USD or something.
Yeah. I mean, if they can make improvements in that there and work around to make it like more cost effective with that there, then that would be more ideal there. But at this point in time, it's like it's a bit of a hit and miss with that.
Right. And to me, it's dead on arrival. If the market was supposed to be people like the one thing at the beginning where they advertise, you can be in a small apartment and it'll feel like you're in a movie theater. It's like the person who's in a small apartment in most parts of the world is not going to be spending $3,500 on a headset. And if
Yeah.
they are, only
They're gonna
only if they're by
that could go
themselves,
that could go towards like the rental stuff like that there.
or down payment on a
Oh,
condo or a house,
yeah.
or a new car. I mean, like it's mind blowing. I mean, you could buy a
Not a
used car
headset.
for the amount of money this thing is. You could buy a brand new motorcycle for this kind of money, and it's like, you know, a small one that you could use in a city where you're in a small apartment. And it's like, to me, like a nice e-bike. And to me, like, the other thing that's a kick in the head about this is they sales pitch it at the end there. Oh, well, if you bought a new TV and you bought a top of the line gaming PC with multiple monitors, you still wouldn't be able to get everything. A brand new camera. The cameras on this cannot possibly be as good as a full frame camera. They're just not big enough sensors. I do agree that, like, they do some cool stuff with Lidar and everything, but even that, like, modern high-end cameras are starting to get Lidar themselves, or they have the add-ons to do so, and they still have the massive sensor size advantage. So, like, yeah, I get it. The 3D stereoscopic is a neat tool, and Apple has some excellent processing capacity on here, but it's not worth this money. It's a dev kit. To me, this is a $1,200 product, and only because it's brand new and shiny. It should be really under $1,000 for it to succeed, I should say. Let me rephrase that. And they're marketing it to the wrong people. They're marketing it to a consumer who's sitting on a couch and their friend walks up and they want to be able to talk to their friend. And it's like, yeah, that person will buy maybe $1,000 headset. They're not going to spend $3,500 on a headset. And the key here is that anybody who's got more than one person in their apartment, their house, etc., they're not going to have the ability to spend this much on one person. Think about it. If I put the headset on, you can't use it. And even worse, you're going to listen to my cool movie I'm watching, and you're not going to be able to watch it. Like, we might as well just went out to Best Buy or Walmart or Target and got like a $400 TV and got
and experience it together then, yeah.
Right. And it's way cheaper. And if I want it to look big, I can spend some more money. And heck, I mean, for $1,000, you can get a very, very nice TV and, you know, prop it up on a table next to you or mount it to the wall. And you're done, you know. I'm not saying this thing doesn't have a use case. It's just, it prices itself out of most use cases that don't involve a big company buying these to invest in to make apps for the future, if they think this thing's going to take off, you know, like in the next headset. Some articles that I've read leading up to this discussion, not even today, but leading up to before the announcement of the actual price, we're talking about a rumored $3,000 price point. In fact, Apple went up $500 more. And one of the things they talked about was the original iPad was far, far, far more expensive and not as good as the next generation of iPads right afterwards. Basically, that first generation was like an R&D generation. And then Apple quickly like ignored them, basically acted like they never existed. I'm curious if these things are going to be the same way. Like there'll be one sitting in the Smithsonian or something, and not many people will even have these outside of developers. And like you mentioned, you got a good point. Die-hard Apple aficionados that have serious money, you know, because I think they're bringing a new MacBook Pro out. You know, they have a brand new operating system, OS 17 Sonoma. So they're going to be busy spending money on that. I don't know how they're going to have $300-500 to buy one of these. And they said that this is coming out January, February of next year. So it's going to be even hotter on the competition by that point, with other HMDs. Because really, it's a VR headset that happens to be good at AR, not a pure AR headset. But yeah, so I thought I'd share that with you because I'm like, I know the perfect person to talk about this with, because nobody else like really, you know, we're a small community. You know, like if you really think about it, VR is a really, really small and tight-knit community. And speaking of unity right there, we are two of some of the people who actually make content for Unity for VR chat in VR. That's how we cut our teeth. So it's fun to be able to actually have some relevant experience in this field, and it's not just a random reaction video. It's actually like us trying to get perspective as like people that are advocates of this and really appreciate it, and like we want to see this succeed. This isn't an Apple bash video or something, but what price do you think it needs to get down to for it to really do well?
For this to do really well,
Yeah,
I would say if they had it to, I would say to at least compete with like the Index there, for example, there.
So like
Some of the
Index, to be fair, I would then say 750 USD, because the Index headset's 500 and then the knuckles are 250. So to be fair to this, 750 would be the price point. And then remember, the lighthouses do cost like I think 150 a pop or 250 together.
If it costs a tad
so $1,000 if you buy the whole kit.
Yeah, that would be that I would say that wouldn't be a train smash there, but that's more than just a train smash there.
I've never heard you use that expression. I've known you a while too. A train smash.
I'm telling you, that is a train smash with a building collapsing and everything there, bro.
Oh goodness. The whole town's falling apart because of a headset. Oh. Hey, you know what though? They're virtual trains and virtual buildings. See, there you go. Oh my God, that right there is another example of the future. Instead of going to the movies, you go to like these special areas and it creates like an experience, and it feels like you're in an action movie. It feels like you're in a horror movie, like for Halloween. Like, I'm not saying like really scary. Like, I'm talking just like, it's not like people are dying or something, but like it would be like creepy. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it's like a haunted house type effect, but like it's an entire like a commercial building. Like a big commercial building, the entire thing, you check in at the bottom floor, you get your safety briefing, and then each floor has a different scary experience. And there's like, obviously like there's a clear safety area on each floor. Like, I'm not feeling this, I'm scared or something. Like, you walk back to that and it shuts off the experience and you can just get shuffled out. Right. Yeah. Like somebody comes up with an elevator, grabs you and goes, "Hey, sorry, you didn't feel like you didn't like it, but well, let's get you out of here." And then like each floor, you have to solve a scary puzzle. Once again, nobody gets like fictionally dead or anything, but like maybe you see like a spooky skeleton in one floor. And then there's like this story of like that skeleton had a backstory of like that person, it's fictional person, had owned this big scary building and they were running it and they were doing dangerous stuff. What were they doing in the basement of the big building? It was the whole company's a front, and you got to solve the puzzle. And like each floor is like an escape the room type thing, but it's like on steroids because it's like virtual items, and there's a leaderboard. How fast do you solve them? As a group. Like, oh my God, the possibilities are endless. That's the most exciting thing. And like, you could like go to like the local diner or something, or go to the local restaurant, and like you run into your friends and you could like check their like what they've been playing recently, and like if they set it to public, you can like see their accomplishments. Like they have like little badges that they finished this experience and they came in like 10th place or something, or first place, and then you feel like, oh, we got to get over there and see if we can beat their time, Like, the opportunities are endless. Even like at a restaurant, being able to preview the food. Like, you sit down at the table and immediately this like the menu pops up. The menu's like literally a swipe gesture system, and it shows like 10 different items to pick from. They're literally sitting on in front of you. And you're like, they're tacos here. Okay, they're decent size. And then you can like just swipe up. Like, you give a thumbs up and that's it. That's ordered. Maybe little mini games at the table.
That would be pretty cool.
Like, I mean, that's what, to me, the good side. not picking on it completely. I'm not, and once again, I don't think either one of us is like anti-Apple or something. I have an iPhone. I still have an Apple Watch. I still love, even though it's got a scratch on it. I still use it almost every day. I have earpods. I guess if anything, I'm too biased towards Apple, even though I obviously use PC for my computer. I see their mobility products as really useful, and I don't see this headset as going to be very useful for fitness, but I do see it for a lot of use cases. I, I just not this one, the next one, like the Vision Not So Pro, just the Apple Vision, because this is called the Apple Vision Pro. They need to make one that's like with the little Pro taken away. Like it's just copy paste it out, cut and paste it out of here. And that price has a 3 missing, It's just the Apple Vision $499, let's be fair,
that sounds more
$999 or
reasonable.
something. Yeah, like people would buy those like hotcakes, like the Vision SE, because there's the Apple iPhone SE, that came out, 1 or 2 generations behind the iPhone, the most recent iPhones and stuff. The SE model, it tends to be like it's a generation or 2 behind, and it's like a third of the price. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to at least see a $999 product in a couple years. I just hope Apple stays the course, because this isn't going to sell. Once the developer kits get out there, and like you mentioned, the aficionados get their hands on these things.
Collectors.
Yeah, the collectors, the Smithsonian gets their copy, for the museum. Then it's going to be like, who else? The only other use case I can think of, though, is extreme use cases like education field stuff and like NASA. Like I know NASA loves their VR equipment. MIT loves their VR equipment. They like to do like heavy duty sciences and experiment with new technologies. Yeah. They have the budget for these. If I was Apple, I would go back to my roots and give these away for free to colleges. Back in the day, Apple took a big risk. They took their original Apple, the original Apple product, and they shipped those computers out. They shipped the Mac over to the colleges for free, and it got an entire generation of programmers hooked to the concept. Once they left, they went to companies and they went home and stuff, and they wanted their Apple products. If they took these, they went full tilt and committed a few $100 million and just sent these to colleges, sent these to scientific field places. And then they said, look, we'll give them to you for free, but we want to collect data. We want to know, like, not personal data, but like how the usage data is going. And what apps are working, what apps aren't. Let your students produce apps, and that we want the rights to be able to provide them for free to the community. That might be a way to kind of create a grassroots effort to make these more popular in 2 or 3 years when they're ready to sell the Vision SE or Vision without the Pro, and it's $999. That's all I got. But yeah, any last thoughts, Monkey?
No, I'm pretty much good.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I kind of just roped Monkey into this at the last minute. We were able to hang out a bit, and I really wanted to talk about this new tech. I really wanted to go over it desperately, and I knew this is the guy to bring it in with and kind of brainstorm with. So Monkey, Magic Monkey, thank you very much for hanging out with me.
It's not a problem, man. It's been all good.
We'll continue to hang out, but just not recorded. And yeah, thank you everybody who tuned into this. I'm not going to edit this. This is a React video. It's pure. It's as innocent as possible and as unbiased as possible. This is our honest take. And if you make the decision to buy this product or not, it's up to you. Remember, it's coming out in January or February now. And do your due diligence when you're spending this kind of money on any equipment. And if you do, let me know in the comments what you think. Yeah. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you to my long-term subscribers. And I promise, yes, to like the two people that'll probably reach out to me. Yes, I am going to get back to making Star Citizen content, but yes, obviously this is a passion of mine as well. Thank you all and fly safe.